Hi, thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. I want to talk about a subject that is extremely important for all wind players and singers, and that is support. And it's also very difficult to talk about. You can tell how difficult it is to talk about because it's very controversial. You'll hear many people say many different things, and those things seem to be the opposite from one another. So what I want to assure you of is that when you're trying to figure this out for yourself, which you're the only one who can do that, that you listen and believe that your teachers are sincere when they try and describe these things. They can demonstrate that they know how to do it, but conveying this sensory information is almost impossible. I like the impossible. It stretches one's abilities. As long as you realize you're never going to make it. But in this case, I'm going to try and do the impossible and talk a little bit about support. Well, it's easy to talk about it, but what I really want to do is convey how support works to you. And that's something you have to experience. So the first thing I'd like to start with today, instead of the theory or the anatomy, and those are all really important, is just to start with some ideas. And I'm going to start with some controversial things. You hear a lot of people say that when you're blowing the trumpet, that your abdominal muscles need to be soft. Now, mostly you'll hear classical players saying this. Most commercial players, you'll hear them saying, no, when you blow the trumpet, your abdominal wall, the muscles have to be tightened so that you could take a hard punch to the gut and it wouldn't hurt you. Now, how can both those things be true? It's quite confusing, but I want to explain how both of those things are true. If you feel for yourself, there's the edge of your ribs, and below that is the abdominal muscle wall. Now that's kind of complicated because you have, I don't want to get into an anatomy lesson like I said, but there's overlapping and interlacing muscles. You have your obliques, transverse abdominis, and the rectus abdominis, which is on the outside. So when we use those muscles, and we use them for all different purposes. We use it so that we can move our body and stabilize our body primarily in space. And so how does that affect your trumpet playing? Well, let me show you. If you tighten the rectus abdominis, which is your sit-up muscles, right? So you're drawing your sternum, toward the pubic bone like this, and you lock those muscles down, you'll feel, see how that pushed my hand out of the way? So now the ribs are rigid. Now, a good exercise that you can try is doing a plank. If those of you who don't know what a plank is, just Google plank and you'll see thousands and thousands of examples. It's a simple exercise. Resting on your elbows in your body is like a plank. From your toes all the way up to the top of your head, you're a straight line, parallel with the ground. And when you do that, you have to engage your abdominal stabilizing muscles, sometimes called the core muscles. So practice breathing while doing a plank. See how much you can relax, how much you can let go of unnecessary tension, and you'll be breathing in a way that kind of combines these two things together. They're not really opposites, they just have to be proportioned in the right way. So it's not exactly soft belly, like you're just letting your gut overlap your belt, right? And it's not rigid, stomach or belly muscles, like taking a hard punch. What are we doing with our stomach muscles? The muscles of the core. I'm going to suggest to you that we're following the air as it moves out of our body. It's just an idea. We're following it. And we sometimes, the right feeling is almost that you have to run, you have to get up some momentum, some speed, to make sure that you stay in touch with that air as it goes out of your body. That's a simple idea. If you can feel it, you're probably supporting. Now, let me ask you to do something. Just take your trumpet. You can do this with or without the mouthpiece. Now you notice I'm sticking my fingers right in here. But I haven't locked my abdominal muscles to freeze my ribs from being able to move. When you do that, now you can't support. Then you have to squeeze the air. So you have to use a different coordination, a different set of muscles in order to make that air keep moving. I think of support as engaging the muscles of the body, of the abdominal region, to allow the diaphragm to relax and go back up into its position. So it's a letting go of the diaphragm, letting go of the inhaling muscles, and following that with the muscles of the lower abdomen. But again, that doesn't mean anything until you can feel it. So it gets a little tricky, but I'm going to make a suggestion for a couple of things that you can do. And I hope that trying to do these and paying a lot of attention to it is going to help you to start to feel what you're doing when you're playing the trumpet, when you're playing your exercises. So the first one is what I call the counting exercise. And this is an exercise that was, as far as I know, invented by Carl Stowe. And Mr. Stowe was known as Dr. Breath. His claim to fame was that he became well known as an expert on breathing and was actually employed by the U.S. Olympic team to train the aerobic athletes, the runners and so forth, the swimmers, for the Olympics when they were held in Mexico City. And that's because Mexico City is over a mile high, and they were worried that the altitude would present a problem for people who were used to training and living at sea level. And our team did extremely well, our teams. So I think that's interesting. So that's, like I said, that's kind of his claim to fame. So here's the exercise. You can do this any way you want. You can sing a steady tone. You can say your ABCs. I like that. You can do you can count from 1 to 10 and just go around in a circle. And I'll probably share this at other times too, so bear with me here. But the idea is to maintain resonance in the voice. So if you're following through, some people call it spinning the air as it leaves your body, and you do that all the way to the end, you're going to be able to retain resonance in the sound. So I'll just go ahead and show you very briefly, and I'm going to save some time and inhale. I'm retaining the air with my inhaling muscles. If you do that really strongly, don't close your throat, don't put your lips together, don't stop it with your tongue, then eventually you're going to want to let go. Now I'm going to start talking from that point. Now it obviously takes air to produce sound with the voice, and so as I talk, I'm not taking in any more air, right? Now if I'm squeezing the air, pretty soon I will start squeezing my voice, and I'm going to feel it in my body. So here's the rule. Still haven't taken a breath. Still talking, right? Still resonance in the voice. Oh, that felt good. So when you get to the end, you're going as far as you can and maintain the resonance. And the way to do that is you're going to feel tension pretty early on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A little bit, like you're choking, or like, it's a little bit of a panicky kind of feeling in the body. Stop the air. Don't close anything. The air is not moving now. Relax the body. Let everything go. Accept your posture. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when you take a breath, you'll notice that your inhaling muscles are not locked with your exhaling muscles. They're not in rigid isometric tension. That's the thing that we want to avoid when we're playing the trumpet. And most often that's the way some people play that way their entire career. So this is for you to investigate and see what you can figure out. Now, I'll show you some things with the trumpet. It's pretty easy. I'm just going to blow air through the trumpet. Actually, let me put that a different way. I'm going to release the air and let it fall through the trumpet. Now let me tell you what I'm concentrating on, and these are some things that you can work on. For one, I'm listening to the sound and I'm keeping it absolutely at the same intensity all the way through. So it doesn't matter whether I'm at the beginning of releasing the air or I have almost no air left in my lungs, I'm trying to follow through. And I can tell if there's a bump, if it feels like something is dropping and hitting the bottom when I go to take a breath, I'm squeezing the air. I've picked something up, and I shouldn't have. I should have left it down on the table. It's easy to talk about these things, but you have to experience it for yourself. So to make this exercise as simple as possible, you take a full breath, watch your breath, and listen to the sound. And when you do that, make sure that it's absolutely smooth exchange from inhaling to exhaling. Quick, agile, graceful, no break from one direction to another. You're trying to move, like Ali used to say, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, really, really fast. And you'll feel that in your breathing system. You can't make that happen. You have to observe it and let it happen. So listening to the sound, making sure it stays all the way to the end, and getting that, listen to your body, listen to what your body is telling you. Is it relaxed? Is it graceful? Is it smooth? Or is it rough? Is it bumpy? Is it rigid? These are the kind of things you're looking for. So you're trying to improve the quality of the air movement in and out of your body. When you're paying attention to following a conductor or trying to play a difficult passage, anytime you're playing your instrument, you can't be paying attention to this. It's way too, it has to be trained in. It's way too complicated. All you do is mess it up by trying to make yourself do things. Listen to your body, watch your body, and see if your body's intelligence can help you to get what you want happening here. One more thing, and then I'll let you go. There are a million things you could do. I want you to be creative about this process. So if I blow air through the horn and I stop the air with the tongue, now I can do it, stop the air with the tongue and then I release it, or as I let the air flow, I can either be pushing against that or I can be allowing it to flow. And the resistance doesn't change. So just like with the counting exercise, as you hold the air with the tongue, not with the throat, you release tension in your inhaling muscles and lean on the tongue. The tongue releases the air. As you start to go out of air, you start to have less air in your lungs, maintain that flow all the way to the end without tightening up. These are really, really good training exercises. Now, this doesn't cover the topic of support. It's a huge topic, but I hope some of these things are going to help you as you go forward. We'll get into this in more detail later on, most likely. Okay, thanks for your patience. Go and try some of these things and listen to your body. Okay? Good. I'll catch you later on. Bye-bye.